Marcus Hale had lived on cold planets before, but there was something different about Vesera 9. It felt as if the entire world breathed slowly beneath the ice, like a giant creature hiding underground. Some nights, when the wind hit the metal walls of the research outpost, the structure made a deep echo that almost sounded alive. Most scientists ignored it. Marcus never did. He listened to every sound, because he believed nothing in the universe happened without a reason. His job was simple on paper: maintain the thermal shields, repair broken circuits, and make sure the outpost did not freeze overnight. Vesera 9 was so cold that without the shields, a human would turn stiff in minutes. Every room had special heating sheets, thin silver surfaces that trapped warmth and stopped the cold from seeping in. Marcus had slept on many beds across many star systems, but he had never seen technology react the way these sheets did. When touched, the sheets glowed faintly, like they were absorbing human heat and remembering it. On his first week, the sheets only gave off the normal soft orange light. But by the third week, he started noticing shapes. They appeared around midnight when the rest of the crew had gone silent. At first, he assumed he was simply tired. The shapes were gentle curves, shifting lines, tiny flickers that moved like warm smoke. He rubbed his eyes, blinked many times, and blamed it on low sleep. But each night, the shapes grew clearer. One night, when Marcus returned to his room after a long shift, he froze in the doorway. The sheets on his bed were glowing far brighter than usual. The glow moved, flowing like liquid across the surface. He stepped closer. The warmth seemed to reach out toward him, soft but precise, like fingers tracing the air. Then the shape formed a tall, thin outline, elegant and curved, like a figure made of mist and fire. It had no face, no real details, but the shape looked almost feminine. Light pulsed from within, faint and trembling. Marcus took 2 steps back. He had seen strange things in space: plasma storms, floating ice creatures, living shadows, but never something that appeared inside a thermal sheet. He whispered, "Is someone there?" The glowing figure shifted. The light thickened around what looked like a head, and then a voice emerged. It was quiet, like a gentle wind passing through metal. "Your warmth. I need it." Marcus felt his heart jump. The voice sounded tired, almost fragile. He grabbed the wall for balance. His mind raced for explanations. Was the sheet malfunctioning? Was someone playing a trick? Was this a hallucination from long hours of work? But the glow did not flicker randomly. It responded to his breathing, pulsing softly in rhythm. He knew machines did not behave like that. His instinct told him to run, call security, report the anomaly. Instead, he slowly lowered himself onto the chair across the room, keeping distance but not looking away. "Who are you?" he asked. The glowing shape inside the sheet flickered, as if the question disturbed it. "I am Lysira," the voice answered. "I am of the deep currents. I am losing my strength." The words vibrated lightly in the air. The energy shape drifted, as if lying down on the sheet rather than floating. The glow dimmed slightly. Marcus swallowed hard. He had read old mission logs about strange forms of energy life that lived deep under frozen planets, but no one had confirmed them. Many scientists believed they were myths, but myths did not speak. "How are you inside my sheets?" Marcus asked. The glowing figure shifted again, sliding across the sheet like a ribbon of light. "Your warmth. It is the only path. The thermal nets attract my kind. But I am weak. I cannot hold form for long." Marcus's brain worked fast, trying to make sense of the situation. The thermal sheets used a complex energy mesh that reacted to body heat. Maybe the alien, or whatever Lysera was using the mesh as a bridge. It was not impossible. Humans often underestimated how life adapted in extreme worlds. "Are you trapped?" Marcus asked. "No," she whispered. "I am fading." Her voice was softer now, almost a sigh. Marcus leaned forward. Something inside him, some instinct or old habit, made him speak gently. "What do you need?" "The currents are broken," she said. "Deep below. The heat flow is dying. My people are dying. I came because your warmth, your human energy keeps me from falling. Marcus stared at her silently for a long moment. He did not understand everything, but he understood enough. Something underground was failing. Something that kept her species alive, and she had come to the warmest place she could find, the human outpost. But the outpost was only built to extract minerals for the mining company. Humans never cared deeply about local life, unless it involved danger or profit. If Marcus reported this, Command would laugh or accuse him of stress sickness. He had seen them dismiss warnings before. Lysera's glow dimmed again. Marcus stepped closer without thinking. The sheets warmed under his presence, and her glow brightened slightly, like she was feeding on the warmth. "You're really alive," he murmured. The light pulsed in a slow nod. "I am alive," she said, "but not for long." Marcus sat on the edge of the bed cautiously. She did not try to reach him. She simply existed beside him, as quiet as a dying flame. He felt strange, nervous, yet calm. Unsure, yet curious. He had never liked being alone on distant planets, but tonight, he did not feel alone. "How long have you been living under this world?" he asked. She paused. "Longer than your oldest cities. Longer than your oldest stories." That answer made his skin prickle. If her species had been alive for so long, then humans might be destroying something ancient without even realizing it. "Is the mining causing the problem?" Marcus asked. Lysera's shape trembled for a moment, becoming thin like stretched light. "The drills broke the core channels," she said. "The deep heat cannot rise. We cannot survive without it." Marcus exhaled slowly. It was exactly what he feared. A single wrong drill path could have cracked delicate natural channels beneath the surface. Humans rarely studied underground energy networks on frozen planets. They only searched for materials. They never expected energy-based species living below. "But why me?" Marcus finally asked. "Why come to me?" Lysera grew brighter for a moment, her shape clearer than before. "You listen," she said. "When the wind cried, you listened. When the walls trembled, you noticed. You feel this world, even though you do not belong to it." Marcus did not know how she knew this. But she was right. He had always felt things deeply, even things he could not explain. When he was younger, his friends called him strange for always sensing danger before others, or feeling moods in empty rooms. But here, it seemed normal. Lysera continued. "Humans carry warmth not only in the body, but in the mind. You care. And caring is energy." Marcus felt a knot in his chest. He did not know what Lysera truly wanted, but her words did not feel threatening. They felt honest. "How can I help you?" he asked. Lysera's light rippled across the sheet like a soft wave. "Come to the deep tunnels, restore the flow, save the currents, and you save us." Marcus blinked slowly. The deep tunnels were off limits to engineers. Only Command had access. Entering without permission meant disciplinary action, or worse. But if Lysera was right, then every day humans drilled deeper. They were destroying a living network. He stood and paced the room slowly. His thoughts tangled like old wires. "I can't just go," he said. "They won't allow it. They don't believe in anything they cannot measure." Lysera dimmed, as if sadness touched her. "Then I will fade," she whispered. "And when I fade, so will many more." Marcus turned sharply. "No, don't say that." But the glow thinned like smoke. The sheet flickered and cooled. Marcus stepped forward and placed his palm on the glowing surface. His heat flowed into it instantly, and Lysera's form strengthened a little. She returned to a soft, steady shape. "You see?" she whispered. "Human warmth brings life." "See." Marcus kept his hand there, feeling the hum of the energy net beneath the sheet. He had never realized how alive these thermal systems could be when connected to something else. He felt almost responsible, like if he moved away, she would collapse. "Tell me everything," he said. "Tell me what the currents look like. Tell me where the damage is. If I understand it, maybe I can fix something." Lysera's glow brightened. and an image formed across the sheet. A deep cavern of glowing rivers, flowing like hot veins through the stone. Then the image shifted to a collapsed channel, blocked by sharp rocks and metal fragments. The heat that once moved freely now halted like trapped breath. Marcus watched silently, absorbing every detail. "How far down is this?" he asked. "Far," Lysera said softly. "Beyond your allowed paths," he sighed. It would not be easy. But if he did nothing, he would spend the rest of his life knowing he watched an entire species die in front of him. Lysera's form began to fade again, slower this time, like she was drifting into gentle sleep. "I must return to the currents," she whispered, "or I will lose my shape." Marcus nodded slowly. "Will you come back?" Her light pulsed once. "If your warmth remains, I will find it." The sheet slowly lost its glow until only the normal dull orange remained. Marcus stayed seated, staring at the empty surface for a long time. The room felt colder now, not because of the temperature, but because the quiet no longer felt peaceful. It felt like a countdown. He knew he had a choice to make: either act and risk everything, or ignore the truth and let a species vanish beneath the ice. For the first time on Vesera 9, Marcus Hale did not feel like a simple engineer. He felt like the only human who had been trusted with a secret older than any machine, and he was not going to let that trust die. Marcus did not sleep after Lysera disappeared. He sat awake for hours, staring at the thermal sheet, as if it might suddenly glow again. Every few minutes he placed his hand on the surface, hoping to feel the strange warmth she brought with her. But nothing changed. The room felt colder, heavier, almost lonely. He finally stood up and walked to the small station window. Outside, Vesera 9 stretched endlessly in white ice and swirling wind. The sky had no stars tonight, only long trails of frozen dust. The outpost's lights looked like tiny orange dots, swallowed by the endless night. Marcus pressed his forehead against the glass. Somewhere beneath that endless ice, an entire species was slowly dying. And no one on the outpost had the slightest idea. The next morning, Marcus walked into the technical bay early. He scanned through every report on underground temperatures, drill patterns, and energy readings. Nothing mentioned strange life forms. Nothing showed irregularities because the company's system only monitored minerals. It did not care about anything else. While he worked, the station commander, Rivas, walked in. A tall, sharp-faced man with little patience. He noticed Marcus instantly. "Hale," Rivas said. "You're here early. Something broken?" Marcus hesitated. He couldn't talk about Lysera, the commander would think he had lost his mind. But he had to try something. "Commander, have you checked the thermal logs from the deep tunnels?" Marcus asked. Rivas raised an eyebrow. "Why? Did you see something?" Marcus chose his words carefully. "I think there may be unusual activity underground. The heat flow looks unstable," Rivas snorted. "Unstable? Hale? The entire planet is unstable. That's why we drill carefully." "What exactly are you worried about?" Marcus swallowed. He wanted to say, living beings, ancient energy currents, a species calling for help, but he couldn't say that. Not yet. Just, maybe we're drilling too close to the core channels, Marcus said softly. "Maybe we should slow down." Rivas stared at him with a blank expression, then laughed quietly. "You want us to slow down the operation?" "Hale, the company wants results. We're already behind schedule. Unless you have real evidence, don't waste my time." Marcus lowered his gaze. He knew this would happen. Rivas only cared about production numbers, not about invisible life, not about anything that didn't increase profit. When Rivas walked away, Marcus felt a quiet anger inside him, a slow, rising burn. For years, humans had been trying to prove they were better than their reputation, better than the stories aliens whispered about them. But here they were again, destroying something they didn't understand. He decided he would find evidence, something clear, something so undeniable that even Rivas couldn't ignore it. Marcus waited until night. When the rest of the crew finished their shift and the hallways became quiet, he took his repair kit and slipped into the restricted section. His heart raced as he stepped through the door marked "Authorized Personnel Only." The air inside the tunnel felt different, drier, and colder. The lights flickered faintly along the metal walls. Every few steps, the ground hummed under his boots like a distant heartbeat. He felt like something beneath the planet was trying to speak. As he walked deeper, the warmth in the tunnels dropped sharply. The temperature displays on the wall blinked in yellow warning. He checked his thermal suit again. Everything was normal, but the air still felt wrong, like the planet itself was losing strength. When he reached the lower drilling level, he saw it. A narrow crack in the ground where hot air should have escaped. But now, the air was barely warm. A broken channel. Just like Lysera said, Marcus placed his hand on the ground. The stone felt almost lifeless. The heat that once pulsed through it was gone. Then he heard something, a faint, distant whisper. Not from above. Not from behind. From the ground. He leaned closer. The whisper was soft, shaking, like someone calling from far below water. Marcus. He nearly fell backward. The voice was familiar. Lysera. He knelt quickly, pressing his palm to the cold stone. Lysera, I'm here. Can you hear me? The whisper grew stronger but full of pain. The channels, falling. We are losing the path. Marcus felt a tightness in his chest. I see the break. It's worse than I thought. I'll try to fix it. You cannot fix it alone, Lysera said weakly. You must reach the deep core. The node must be awakened. The flow must return. Plotting 7. Marcus looked down the dark tunnel stretching beyond the restricted area. The deep core was far below, too far for a normal worker. And reaching it without clearance meant serious consequences. But consequences did not matter if an entire species was dying. I'll go, Marcus whispered. Tell me the fastest path. Lysera didn't answer with words. Instead, the ground lit up faintly under his hand. A thin line of soft orange light stretched down the tunnel, showing a path like a glowing trail. Marcus stood. I'll follow it. The trail pulsed once, slowly. Then the faint whisper said, Hurry! Marcus walked deeper into the forbidden tunnels. The walls changed from metal to stone as he moved past the final human-made section. The air grew warmer for a moment, then suddenly colder. Strange symbols were carved into the stone, smooth, flowing lines that looked older than any human language. He touched one symbol. It vibrated faintly under his fingers, like a heartbeat trapped in rock. As he moved forward, the tunnel opened into a massive cavern. It was dark except for long lines of glowing orange veins running across the walls. They looked like roots of fire trapped in stone, but many of them were dim, flickering weakly like dying embers. Lysera's voice echoed faintly. These are the old currents. They fed my world. They fed us. But the drill broke their heart. Marcus stepped carefully, feeling like he had entered a sacred place. He walked toward the lowest part of the cavern, where a massive crack split the ground. Inside the crack, he saw fragments of broken energy crystal, glowing weakly. He reached down and picked up a small piece. It felt warm, like it was alive. But the warmth was fading. We need to restore the connection, Marcus muttered to himself. But how? A soft light formed beside him, rising from the crystal piece in his hand. Lysera's shape appeared faintly, much weaker than before. She flickered constantly, like she could disappear any second. You came, she whispered. I couldn't stay sitting while you were dying, Marcus said. Lysera's form bowed slightly, as if grateful. You cannot stop the collapse alone. But you can begin the awakening. How? Lysera drifted toward the deep crack. The node is below. But the entrance was blocked in the collapse. You must open a new passage. Open. Marcus looked around. He had tools, but nothing strong enough to cut through thick stone. Then he remembered something: the emergency thermal cutter attached to his repair kit. It was designed to melt metal. But maybe it could soften stone too. He grabbed the cutter, pressed the ignition, and watched a bright flame extend from the tip. He aimed it at the stone above the crack. Slowly, the stone heated and softened. For the next hour, Marcus worked tirelessly. Sweat dripped from his forehead despite the cold. His hands shook from exhaustion. Lysera stayed close, guiding him with faint pulses of light. When the opening was finally large enough to slip through, he crawled inside. The tunnel below was narrow, filled with broken shards. The air felt warmer, but in a dangerous way, like the planet's inner heat was trapped. Marcus climbed down and dropped into a circular chamber. At the center stood a massive crystal structure half buried in debris. It was dark, lifeless. Lysera appeared beside him, barely visible. This is the core node. It carried life to every corner of the planet. Marcus touched the crystal. It was cold. Too cold. How do I restart it? Lysera's voice trembled. You must give it warmth. Marcus blinked. I'm only human. I can't power a whole planet. You do not need to, Lysera whispered. You only need to wake it long enough for the core to reopen its path. He understood. The node was like an engine stuck in silence. It needed a spark, not full energy. He removed his gloves and pressed both hands against the crystal. It felt like ice. His fingers stung instantly. Lysera hovered close, guiding him. Do not let go. Marcus gritted his teeth. The cold tore into his skin, but he stayed still. The crystal began to glow faintly, pulsing slowly like a weak heart trying to beat. Lysera's voice grew clearer. It is working. Hold, hold. Marcus felt dizzy, his vision blurred. But he didn't move. Suddenly, the crystal flashed bright. The ground shook. A deep, roaring sound filled the chamber. Heat surged upward like a waking volcano. Lysera's form brightened. For the first time, she looked whole, strong, warm, radiant. The flow is returning, she whispered. You did it, Marcus. Marcus collapsed to his knees, shivering. His hands felt numb, but he smiled faintly. Then he heard loud footsteps coming down the tunnel behind him. Voices. Human voices. Revis's voice shouted, Hail! What the hell have you done? Marcus looked back slowly. A security team had arrived. Their lights filled the chamber. Their faces were shocked and angry. Lysera vanished instantly, retreating into the walls of the cavern. Marcus stood weakly, knowing trouble was coming. But he wasn't afraid. He had seen something greater than rules, greater than fear. He had given an entire species a chance, and humans would finally have to face the truth buried under the ice. Marcus stood in the glowing chamber with shaking hands, his breath forming cold clouds in the air as the security team surrounded him. The bright lights of their helmets cut through the warmth he had just released into the core node. The crystal still pulsed softly behind him, glowing like a giant heart waking after a long sleep. Commander Rivas stepped forward, face hard as stone. You broke into restricted tunnels. You activated unknown energy equipment. Do you understand what you've done? Do you? Marcus wiped cold sweat from his forehead. Yes, he said quietly. I saved something. Revis's eyebrow twitched. Saved what? Rocks? Caverns? Hail. We detected an unauthorized heat surge. If this causes a core collapse, it's on you. The core was already collapsing, Marcus replied. I only restarted the natural flow. Rivas stared at him, confused and irritated. Why would you think that? Who told you this? Marcus's mind tightened for a moment. He could not say Lysera's name. Not yet. They would call him unstable. Drag him out of the station. Maybe isolate him. He needed them to see proof with their own eyes. Before Marcus could answer, the ground beneath them trembled. Soft at first, then heavier. Like the rumble of a huge engine awakening deep under the ice. The cavern walls glowed brighter as orange veins pulsed with rising heat. Broken channels burst with new light, reconnecting like healed wounds. The security guards stepped back, startled. One whispered, Commander, are you seeing this? Rivas could not hide his shock. What in the world? The chamber brightened again, and a warm breeze moved through the air, strange on such a cold planet. Marcus looked around, searching for Lysera. He felt her presence before he saw her. Light gathered near the crystal. Slowly, the glowing shape took form. Tall, flowing, graceful. This time, she didn't flicker or struggle to keep her shape. She was stronger, fuller, almost radiant. Rivas stumbled back. What is that?" The guards raised their weapons. Marcus stepped forward quickly. "Stop! Don't shoot! She's not dangerous!" The guards hesitated, confused and afraid. Lysera drifted forward, her shape shimmering like warm mist. Her voice echoed with new strength. "Humans," she said softly. "You stand in the heart of our world." Rivas lowered his gun very slowly. "You can speak?" Lysera's glow pulsed. "I spoke before, but only one of you listened." Her eyes, or where eyes would be, turned toward Marcus. Her light warmed as if showing gratitude. Rivas stared at Marcus in disbelief. "You saw this thing before?" This Sinxon," Marcus nodded calmly. "Many times." Rivas struggled for words. The cavern hummed around them, the revived currents connecting the old energy veins. Lysera turned toward the humans again. "Your drills wounded our home. The heart of the planet grew cold. My people faded into darkness." Rivas swallowed hard. "We didn't know." "No." Lysera agreed. "You did not know. But you did not look." Her tone was gentle, not accusing. "Your machines listen only to the Earth's surface. But life runs deeper than machines can measure." Marcus stepped beside her. "Commander, she's telling the truth. These currents, they're alive. They've been here longer than us. The station nearly destroyed them." Rivas looked at the glowing veins across the cavern walls. The ancient pathways pulsed steadily, like blood flowing through a sleeping giant. "What happens now?" Rivas asked quietly. Lysera floated closer, her light softening. "Now the flow returns. My people will heal, and we will remember the human who gave us warmth when our world turned cold." Marcus felt a wave of relief wash over him. The node was stable. Lysera was alive. Her people would live. But the moment didn't last long. From above them, another tremor shook the cavern stronger than before. Dust fell from the ceiling. A deep cracking sound rolled through the cavern like thunder. One guard shouted, "Commander, the tunnel ceiling is unstable." Rivas barked an order. "We're leaving. Move." Marcus turned to Lysera. "What's happening?" "I thought the core was restored." Lysera's light dimmed briefly. "It is. But your machines weakened the stone above. When the currents returned, the pressure changed. The old walls cannot hold." Another crack echoed overhead, louder. Rivas yelled, "Hail! Move!" Now, Marcus wanted to stay. He didn't want to leave Lysera. But Lysera moved toward him with gentle urgency. "Go. If you stay, you will fall with the stone." Marcus hesitated, but Lysera touched the air near his chest. Even without a physical form, Marcus felt a warm push like a soft breeze guiding him backward. "You have given my people life," she whispered. "Do not lose yours." Marcus took a deep breath and nodded. "Will I see you again?" Her light glowed brighter. "If your warmth remains, I will find it." He didn't know why, maybe exhaustion, maybe relief, but those words eased him enough to turn and run. The security team escorted him quickly up the tunnel, climbing over broken rocks and debris. The heat in the cavern faded behind him, but the glow remained visible from afar, like a living sunrise. As they climbed, a huge section of the cavern collapsed behind them. A cloud of dust rushed up the passage. Marcus coughed, pulling his suit collar over his mouth. Rivas shouted over the noise, "Faster! Go!" They barely escaped before another collapse sealed the passage completely. By the time they reached the metal section of the tunnel, everyone was covered in dust and shaking from the shock. When the heavy door slid shut behind them, the outpost's alarms blared. Emergency lights flashed across the hall. People rushed in, confused and panicked. What happened? A scientist asked. Tunnel collapse, a guard cried. Marcus leaned against a wall, breathing hard. His body ached from cold, heat, fear, everything. But inside, he felt something warm, hope. Hours later, he sat in the commander's office. Rivas paced back and forth, staring at him like he was a puzzle. You should be dead, Rivas said. But instead you found something impossible. Marcus didn't answer. Rivas stopped pacing. We can't hide this. Whatever that being was, the company must know. Marcus shook his head slowly. If the company knows, they'll come with machines. They'll dig, test, capture. They'll treat her people like resources. Rivas clenched his jaw. We can't lie about what happened. There was a massive energy surge, and now the core's heating readings have stabilized. Exactly, Marcus said. The planet healed itself. It doesn't need us interfering again. Rivas stared at him. Something changed in his eyes, a mix of conflict and understanding. You're asking me to keep silent? Rivas said. I'm asking you to protect something rare, Marcus replied. The commander exhaled slowly, then sat down. You risked your life. You saved the station, even if you broke 100 rules doing it. He rubbed his face tiredly. Fine. We'll call it a natural geothermal correction, a rare event. Marcus felt a wave of relief. Thank you. But, Rivas added, pointing at him, you are not going back down there. Ever. Marcus allowed a faint smile. I wasn't planning to. The next few days passed quietly. The crew repaired damaged areas, checked sensors, and tried to understand what caused the collapse. Marcus gave simple, safe answers. Nothing more. But every night, Marcus sat on his bed, staring at the thermal sheet. He waited. He hoped. For 2 days, nothing happened. On the third night, the temperature in his room rose slightly. The sheets glowed softly, like a candle flickering in a quiet room. A familiar warmth moved across the surface. Slowly, a shape formed, graceful, calm, steady. Lysera returned. Marcus sat still, heart beating fast but soft. You're okay, he whispered. Lysera glowed brighter. The currents are strong again. My people rise in the deep channels. We are whole. Marcus nodded, smiling in relief. Good. I'm glad. Lysera drifted closer. Because of you. Tran. He looked at her glow, feeling the same warmth he felt the first night, gentle, peaceful, alive. You didn't come just to thank me, he said. Lysera's light shimmered. No. I came because this world remembers warmth. And so do I. Marcus didn't speak. He didn't need to. The room felt warmer, safer, alive with quiet energy. Lysera began to fade, but not like before. This time it was soft, like a wave returning to the ocean. I will return, she whispered. As long as humans like you walk this world. Marcus watched her disappear gently into the sheets. Outside, the wind howled across the frozen planet. But inside, warmth filled the room, not just from heat, but from the knowledge that humans had earned the trust of a species older than stars. And somewhere deep below the ice, the planet's core glowed strong again, carrying a promise through its ancient currents. Humans were not destroyers this time. They were protectors, and the galaxy would remember it.